Hello. Hello. We are live on YouTube now. Please note, we are live on YouTube.
So, very good morning, Dr. Elizabeth ma'am.
Good morning. Good morning, Vishal sir.
Hello.
Good morning, Vishal
Dr.
sir.
Vikas, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are very much
Yeah,
live
good morning
on
to all of
YouTube
you.
now. Please
Thank you,
note,
ma'am. Thank you
we
for
are
taking the
live on
time.
YouTube.
So, very good morning, Dr. Vikas. How are you?
Dr.
Elizabeth oh, that's wonderful.
Vishal sir, our director sir, has also joined.
Yeah, good morning, Professor Hundal.
Good morning, Vishal sir.
Hello. Thank you for sparing time,
Good
Director
morning,
sir.
Vishal
Dr.
sir.
Vikas, am I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We are very much
Yeah,
live
good
on
morning to all of
YouTube
you.
now.
Please Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for taking the time.
Yes, yes,
So, very
yes,
good
sir. You are
morning,
very much audible.
Dr. Elizabeth oh, that's wonderful.
Vishal sir, our director sir, has also joined.
Yeah, good morning, Professor Hundal.
Good morning, Vishal sir.
Hi, good
Hello.
morning.
Thank you for sparing time,
Good
Director
morning,
sir.
Vishal
Dr.
sir.
Vikas, am I audible?
Thank you. Rather, I should say thanks that you are making me join this meeting, right? So, really, I'm thankful for that. Vikas, are you able to hear me?
No, sir. It's our pleasure that you have spared the time and given the consent for the collaboration. And
sir, I think
we will
there
be
is some
doing such activities in future too.
Okay, yeah, sure, why not? Yeah. Dr. Vikasdeep, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You are very much audible, sir.
Okay. Just wanted to cross check before.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Director, sir, you are audible.
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
So we will wait for another 10 minutes and we have the schedule for 11:30. So we'll be starting by 11:30.
Okay, not an issue at all. Perfectly fine.
Yeah, thank you. And Dr. Vikas, when the event will be over, kindly share the feedback form on the Zoom as well as on the YouTube channel, so that the people who have joined us, they can just fill the feedback form and we can deliver the certificates on their email IDs.
Right, sir. Right, sir. Sure, sir. Sure, sir. Vishal sir, can you get checked? Are we live on YouTube? I have put it on live, sir. हेलो यार मेरे वाले च ना इको अज फेड आ रही है प्लीज
Yeah, Dr. Vikas, we are live on the YouTube. I have checked it. It's working.
Right, sir. Thank you.
So, Dr. Vikas, I think we can start because the talk will take 5 to 9 minutes to start. In the meanwhile, we can start with the introduction and the welcome address. So, if you can kindly start. Because speaker is also there, director sir is also there. So,
Right, sir.
Okay, so we can start.
Yes. Right, sir. Right. Right, sir. Thank you, thank you, Vishal sir. Thank you, Vishal sir. Before we, so just give me a minute. There is some echo problem. Give me a minute, sir.
It's okay, fine. It's audible. Please carry ahead. Go ahead.
Good morning, everybody. Before formally we start with the proceedings of the day, as per the traditions of the university, I'll request everybody to rise to the university dhuni. I'll play university anthem. So I request everybody to please rise to the university dhuni.
Hope my slide is visible.
Yeah, slides are visible, ma'am. Dr. Vikas, have you played the University Dhuni?
Ma'am, can you stop the screen sharing, please? I think that is. Ma'am, can you stop the screen share for a moment, please? Yes, thank you. Yeah, I'll do that, sir.
Yeah, Dr. Vikas.
So can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
have you played the University Dhuni?
I'll just restart, sir, because the ma'am was sharing screen, so it couldn't come up.
Okay, okay, fine, fine.
Thank you, everyone. Vishal sir, am I audible?
Yeah,
Yeah, you are audible.
you are
Yeah.
audible.
Good morning, everybody. Honorable Director, Punjabi University, Guru Kashi Campus, Talwandi Sabo, Professor Jaspreet Singh Ji Hundal. Honorable Ma'am, Professor Elizabeth Shirley, Dean of various faculties of Punjabi University, Patiala, Head of the departments of Punjabi University, Patiala of various departments, our faculty colleagues, research scholars, and students, those who all have joined this platform via Zoom and live on YouTube. A very warm welcome from Center for E-Learning and Teaching Excellence, Punjabi University, Patiala. So today, like we have a great speaker, ma'am, Dr. Elizabeth Shah, will speak on the topic digital transformation in universities and blended learning. So before we formally start with the proceedings, I'll request our director, Dr. Vishal Goyal, to please say formal welcome address to the dignitaries present in this meeting. Over to Dr. Vishal Goyal, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Vikas, for the nice start of this webinar, for making us to run this center, and we are doing well. So I heartily welcome Professor Elizabeth Shirley, who is the Dean Academic Affairs of Digital University Kerala. She is Director of ICFOS, that is International Center for Free Open Source Systems, that is Kerala government. She is director of IIIT-MK. So she is a well-renowned personality in natural language processing. I'll say she is my guru, from where we have learned a lot of things about NLP. So it's a long association. I have learned a lot of NLP resources and NLP. So thank you for sparing the time. I heartily welcome director for having the collaboration with Center for E-Learning scholars who have joined us, on Zoom meeting and through YouTube channel. So I hope this session will be really a knowledgeable session, and we will learn a lot of things from this session. So again, I welcome Dr. Shirley for sparing the time and sharing this very valuable information with us. So over to Dr. Vikas, please. Dr. Vikas.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Now, I would like to request to make opening remarks our director, Dr. Jaspreet Singh Ji Hundal. Dr. Jaspreet Singh Ji Hundal is an IIT Roorkee alumnus. He did his PhD from IIT Roorkee. He's a seasoned administrator and renowned physicist in the area of ferroelectric. And like he has a long-standing 32 years experience. He was a registrar, Maharaja Ranjit Singh State Punjab Technical University, Batinda, from June 2015 to 2019. He was Dean Research and Development, MRSPTU. Professor Hundal has a long experience of administration, and he's a renowned physicist. Sir has a lot of research in the area of piezo and ferroelectric and composite materials and their characterization. Sir has done his postdoctoral from Pennsylvania University, Pennsylvania, US in 2001. So, sir, like with your long standing, it's a blessing for us to make opening remarks on the very pertinent topic, which is a very hot topic for the day, that is the digital transformations in universities and blended learning. So now I'll request Professor Hundal to make his opening remarks on this topic before I request speaker of the day. Over to you, Hundal, sir.
Yeah, hello. Good morning, everybody. I hope I'm audible because
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you are very much audible.
uh, uh, dear ma'am, Professor Elizabeth Shirley, who's Director of IIT MK and Dean Academics of Digital University Kerala. Then Professor Vishal Goyal, Professor Joshi, Dr. Vikas Deep, other faculty colleagues and the research scholars and other students who are on this meeting. This is a very important meeting. I mean, looking at the way the things are moving. When we talk of digital transformation, it is happening in every area. I mean, you just think of an area and digital transformation is taking place. And it is utterly important, I mean, for the universities also to go in for use of digital technologies. So we were a bit slow. I mean, before COVID pandemic came, we were going for e-office and emails we were using for quite some time, but things were moving very slowly. But COVID pandemic forced us to go in for digital transformation immediately because there was a requirement. Otherwise, there could have been a big loss, academic loss for the students and for the faculty and for the universities as well. And it could have cascading effects, right? So there it became that transformation. Digital transformation became very, very urgent. And though people like us who are just near to the retirement kind of, we took some time to adjust to the new realities. But I think that's the need of the day. Otherwise, had there been not use of digital technologies, probably we would have lost one academic session and the students, there would have been disastrous effect on the students and the society in general. Thanks to digital technologies for innovating in this way. I do remember when in 97, 98, I was at IIT Roorkee and for literature survey and other things, I used to go to IIT Delhi and NPL. I used to make list of journals and the publications which I require, and then used to visit IIT Delhi, stay there for 1 or 2 days. Used to visit INSDOC also at that time, right? But those difficulties are not there anymore with the e-resources available, e-journals available, e-books available. Things are taken a turn for good. So I'm really delighted to have this kind of collaboration with Center of E-Learning and Teaching Excellence, Punjab University, Patiala, who are doing a lot in this front. Okay, so and we'll be very delighted to hear Professor Shirley, who's expert in this area. But at the same time, I do feel that we do have digital technology at place, but for poor people who can't, don't have the access to digital things, right? Of course, there the limitation could be there, and that's why we have that blended learning thing, right? So it's a very apt topic to talk on and make the people informed and make the people update. Okay, but nobody wants to come out of the comfort zone, I mean, that easily. So that barrier has to be broken. That hesitation has to be removed, and that's what Punjab University is doing at the moment. Okay, and making people comfortable with these e-learning processes. And so I would not like to spend too much time between the audience and Professor Shirley, who is the expert to talk on this topic. And I hope the session would be interactive kind of, right? It's going to be discussion, open to discussion kind of, so that we can connect with more and more number of people. And I'm very sure that this talk is going to be very fruitful, not only for the faculty, but for faculty, students, research scholars alike. So thank you very much for tying up with us, our campus. So I'm especially thankful to Professor Vishal Goyal for giving us this opportunity, and Dr. Vikas Deep for making it possible to have an outreach. Okay, and this is a live example of how digital transformation can connect us across the country, even across the globe, right? So thank you very much and best wishes for this program. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for your kind blessings. And like you have raised the right concern, like this has created a divide between rural and urban people, the people, those haves and have-nots. So that's the right concern. And I think ma'am will surely address these issues, that how can we reduce this gap between the people, those who have and those who do not have. And second, sir, it's a great collaboration. Punjabi University, Patiala main campus and Punjabi University, Guru Kashi campus had on this platform. And I'm sure, like with your blessings, we'll have more collaborations to have interactive sessions with the various leaders in our education, so that we can share our knowledge with each and everybody. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks for sparing your time. Now, not taking much of time, I would like to request speaker of the day, Madam Elizabeth Sharon, to start with his keynote address. Before that, I would like to introduce ma'am, Dr. Elizabeth Sharon. She's the director of Indian Institute of Information Technology and Management, Kerala, IIITMK. She's additional full charge of International Center for Free and Open Source of Kerala. In a career spanning more than 3 decades in teaching and research, she has gathered expertise in pattern recognition, natural language processing, automatic speech recognition, system and medical image processing. She is actively working on promoting virtual learning system with a pedagogy model of technology enhanced learning to the educational community. She served as the chief investigator of several prestigious MITI projects under Digital India Corporation and Technology Development in Language Technology of Government of India. She has established and is heading 2 centers of excellence, Virtual Resource Center for Cognitive and Language Computing and Center for Excellence in Pattern and Image Analysis. She was the recipient of URK Fellowship, Rational Certified India Trainer, and one among 7 scientists in India for eScience Grid Group London. She has received the award from central government Word from 2012 for Best Initiative for Language for the project Cloud Computing Initiative sponsored by MHRD. Dr. Cheryl has produced 12 PhDs and has more than 100 papers to her credit, which includes international national conference papers. Dr. Cheryl is director, board member of several Kerala government organizations, including Kerala IT Mission, Kerala Startup Mission, Institute of Management, etc. She has been serving on editorial board member of several international and national journals. And if I start sharing achievements of the ma'am or the other, I'm sure I need another half an hour to introduce ma'am. So not taking much of time, ma'am. I don't want to stand between you and the people, those who are eager to listen to you. So the dais is all yours, ma'am. The platform is over to you, Cheryl, ma'am. Thank you so much. Please.
Yeah, thank you very much for all your nice words. Respected director of CELT, the Kashi campus of Punjabi University, Dr. Vikas Dev, Professor Vishal Goyal, the deans of the university, and all the other participants, students, and resource scholars. In fact, I had an opportunity to come to Punjabi University as part of my collaboration for our MIT project with Professor Vishal Goyal. So it was a very pleasant trip for us. Okay, now coming to my presentation, Digital Transformation in Universities. So let me go through my agenda. So just what is meant by digital education, the 3 I's, digital transformation in universities, blended learning, and implementation of a blended learning. So I use these 3 words digital university, digital transformation, and digital innovation, so wherever it is, but more or less same meaning it comes. But there is a difference in there that all of you know, because you all are know, and you all are veterans of educations and also, technologies here. I'm just starting with my slide. What is not digital university? Everybody feel the digital university is something and IT is in place. So if you have a virtual learning or if you have an online learning, and in fact, you know that once the corona has been affected, many of the colleges and universities have turned into online learning and all. So majority of the people have a feeling that this is digital university or the digital. It's not. So digital university is not merely meant by online or virtual education. That is to be very clear before I start my seminar here. And also your digital transformation. So what do you mean by digital transformation in the university? Digital transformation is also not merely about the establishment of the application of IT in higher education practices and operations, because we all are doing it that. I think most of the universities are into this kind of businesses like IT-enabled services, online teaching, online assignment submission, use of a MOOC or a Moodle or those kind of learning platforms. So this is something we are practicing for several decades, but that is not meant by a digital university. So digital university requires a digital transformation. And what is the digital transformation? So digital transformation, it's a revolutionary process that leverages, of course, the digital technologies, that some of the technologies they are already practicing it, and the capabilities resulting in a value generating business model. So this is, in fact, we are making a new business model for a university with the digital support. So this is not merely teaching where you need to do a digital support. The process that we do, the various other kind of services we do, and also wherever you do the capacity building, wherever you do training, it is not merely as a generic kind of thing, where because maybe it is more a domain based thing, because suppose you wanted to give some agri kind of informations or agri smart farming. So the agriculture department doesn't know how to do it. Why can't you train them for a smart farming? Why can't you do it for an agri-business model? Why can't you come up with a more, innovative marketing technologies or marketing innovations for an agriculture? So likewise, wherever the services can be provided, the university has to reinvent like that. So the concept of university like that, you do teaching, because I always feel that there is no, you don't need to worry about a revenue model when you come to a university. So you teach, you get the salary and you go. But it's not like that. So you need to work it for the public. We need to work it for the various services that has to be given for the various domains or the various services or the various people. That is exactly we are doing, but not merely a conceptual kind of teaching. So we need to come up with an efficient business model and practices that has to improve our service delivery, because it is something like that e-governance we study. So same concepts we have to apply it in the university, where what you have to do is that those kind of capacity building you need to do, and those kind of students you have to produce it, because that is a demand for that today. That is a market demand. We need to work it with the market demand. Just like as industry works, the university need to work. There, the digital platform will play a bigger role and instrumental role only that. So that is something like that, a digital transformation. So we are apparently shifting the current education system is required for that. Okay, now what is a digital transformation in universities? Digital transformation in higher education institutions is about the development of a new, more advanced, effective methods and practices in pursuit of higher education mission. So any university, you have a mission. We are not saying that we need to change the vision. The vision is same. We need to produce quality students. And we have a process in that, we have a mission in that. In order to, comply with this mission, we need to have a different process, practices and all. These are the things we need to change it. And there actually the digital transformation comes. So it involves a dramatic and disruptive changes that comes to lead that is something called a disruption in the education ecosystems. How do you bring that disruption in the education system? Do you think that the new generation's students will accept the way we learned it? No. Do you think that they will accept whatever we say in the class? No. So there are a lot of ways they get knowledge. Why can't you leverage that all into that? So like this, the practitioners, the teacher should also change it. The process has to change it. The practices has to be changed. This is something we need to look at into the digital transformation for the university. And it's not a easy process. It's a very it's an evolutionary process. And where we need to use digital technologies, because that digital technologies, it gives you a faster scaling up and also an efficient way of interacting with the people, and also transforming, and also collaborating with the people, and also to send information. So with the reach out is very easy. So that's why we have to use digital technology, because it is powerful. And that is something the digital technology or digital things comes in them. Just please, once again, I'm saying it is not merely providing online education or virtual educations. So with this, we need to have a value-added models for the new generation education system. And how do we come up with a new generation education system where university has got their own roles in framing up this new generation education system? Okay, so if you have any doubts in between also, you can interrupt me, and you can ask if anything. If I am, if I am able to answer, I am very happy to share with you.
Ma'am, we'll take questions at the end, please.
Okay, that would be good for me also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so now digital universities, digital education in universities. I have 3 I's. I put it in as 3 I's: education in change, education for change, and education for the future. So education in change. Okay, why do you need a change? Are you living in a changing world? I think all of you accept that. Goodbye to all the friend of, camera films and Kodak films and all. So one day it was something we are very, 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 crazy about getting this, films and loaded it in a camera and taking pictures and going to a studio and get a printout out of that. So that days are over. So in 1976, 89% of the market share is the Kodak films. Now, how many of you are using that? I think the answer will be 0. Maybe some, even media or digital ones, they are also not using it as other than the cinema to produce it like that. But that is also the concept. It has already been changed. It. Okay, Uber. How do we compute today? So if the Uber facility is there, how convenient you are to use that? You all know that. So this is where the world is changing. People are also changing it. So this is already in change. And many places, if you look at, there are changes. But only one places there are no changes that's been happening for several decades is our education systems. Especially, I call it as an Indian education system, universities and colleges. We have a same old fashion of admitting students. We don't look at their, capabilities, caliber, pace of learning, intelligence and all. We bombard something and they have to learn like that. Now that period with that will not work it for the new generation people. And that is why there is some role for the disruptive technology, because this is again more, all of you know that become more debatable when Ms. Nirmala Sitharaman has announced that the budget February that about the concept of a digital universities. So there are a lot of debate going on. By that, after that only, even people have started thinking about what is this digital university. And many of them are, even if you look at some of the comments or feedbacks or social media, most of them have a feeling that it is something to make it as a virtual centers or a hub and spoke model, or that is not merely the transformation in the digital or the university. So we need to have a disruptive technologies in that. I think some of you have already computer science background, you know what is a disruptive technology, and the technologies that changes the basis of competitions, that is by changing the performance metrics with the market compete. So even how many of you are using a typewriter for preparing a document? We go for a personal computer, so that is gone. So new technology has come. How many of you using postal, going to the postal department, postal post box and putting a letter there? We use email. Telephone now changed with the mobiles, cloud computing, the many physical computing, it has now been changed. So many changes have been come up, and the old one, it is replaced with the new one because that is a market now, and it gives you value addition also. So that is a disruptive technology. Now, what do you mean by disruptive innovations or disruptive technology? I just make it for the education as a disruptive innovation in education. We need to have an innovation in physics. So innovation for what? Innovation to meet the demands of the 21st century students and their demands. And you need to connect it with the hyperactive and hyperconnected words. And to meet the challenges, technology, where is an essential component in that. And that's the way you have to promote disruptive form of education and puts learning into a new light. Now, in order to do this, what transformation you need to do it? You need to do many things to get it into a digital transformation in universities. So it should come as a resilient adaptation. Resilience adaptation means it has to go in tune with all these kind of things. That is where you have to tune it with the industry 4.0 and the society 5.0. I think most of you have heard of that. So digital transformation is a function of accumulating all these digital innovations. So how do we make the digital innovation? It's up to you. You have to define as far as your university is concerned. As our director has already pointed out, we have remote centers, we have urban centers. Remote centers, you may not have the internet connections. And how do we set the digital transformation there? How do the students study there? Yes, we need to have a way of doing that also. So this is something we need to define it as far as a university is concerned, their location, their, the availability of professors, all kind of things. It has to be taken into a major role to define your digital innovations. There is no hard and fast rule. So far, it is not there because we have a more of, the same concept of a motor and this kind of things. But university now, NEP also says that you can change it, but that the university has to come forward. It is not by looking at the other points that comes in, but what are the things you can do? One can do it in the universities for a digital transformation. That digital transformation strategies has to be defined, and the innovation strategies has to focus on product and process transformation as well as other organization issues, thanks to use of the new technology. So depending based on your technological issues, based on your organization issues, and all, you need to define an innovation. So that is why the need for transformation is not aligned only in universities, where new models for delivery require profound changes in the educational process. That process needs to be defined with the support of the digital technology. This is something we look for, the digital adaptations or the digital transformations. Sometimes you feel that online education or a virtual education is not.
Good morning.
You can't. Hope you can hear me. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible. I'll mute everybody, then you can unmute yourself, ma'am. I'll just put everybody on mute now.
Okay, so now I'll come to the next point.
Ma'am, please unmute yourself.
Okay.
Yes, I think it is done now, ma'am.
Okay. So this is something we start with the education for change. So first is the acquisition. So you need to have a 4 dimensions there: the acquisition, physical, virtual, and also we have something called what's called that? Sorry. So you all have a big campus. Many of the universities have minimum 500 acres of land. They have good buildings. We have good infrastructure. So this has to be retained. We have to retain that. So we need to have online on-campus classes, because the holistic growth of a child, you know that it has to build it from the school or the colleges. Students has to interact with the friends, and they have to play around. They have to come to the library. They have to, so many things, as all of you know, that I don't need to explain too much because you all are veterans in the education side. So on campus in classes required. But then also we need to have off-campus classes, where how do we give the or build an off-campus? What type of learning you have to give? This all has to be defined with a new methodology or a new business model. And on campus, out of class. This is something we call it as a more of a blended learning comes into there, and off campus, out of class. So there are the different ways we can come up with a different methodology or a model for an education systems. And there, in order to know about the different models of educations, I just, because all of you know about all these terms, but there are different modes of learning. You all know. We have formal learning. Most of us are going through this formal learning. We have a defined curriculum. We have a defined instructional models. And of course, we all use technology in the classroom. So we have a smart classroom there. We use, and also we ask students to, submit assignments and also quizzes and all. We use other kind of, pedagogy models for a technology advanced pedagogy models. That all it comes in the formal learning. But here we have a fixed model. We say that, okay, this is your syllabus. This is your curriculum. And this is your examination date. This is your scheme of the examination. So students have to follow just like that. So we all have gone through that. There are advantages and also there are disadvantages. But the thing is, the people with like me or somebody, have been done their education 2-3 decades before, they all feel that what is wrong in that? But our market was like that only. But a new student, a new generation student, they are not ready to accept that. There actually we need to think in a different model. And this is something called we call it as one is called a formal. Then virtual learning, it refers, online interaction between a student and the teacher. Basically, you receive training through an online medium, partially or fully. Lectures, assignments, tests, and all can be in a virtual platform. Student can be in the same location or in remote locations. And if it is done remotely, it is more or less same as something called a distance learning. We all are familiar with that. Open learning concept is already also there. Open learning, the difference is that these two, first two, it is a teacher-centric. Teacher says, okay, you do like this, and this is the way the student has to obey. But open learning, as it is more of a learner-centric, and to make learners self-determined and independent. But teachers can become just a facilitator or a mentor. So they have some sort of flexibility in learning, but it will be decided by the university. Universities have to define, okay, how to conduct these open learning systems also. But here in all these methods, formal methods or virtual learning or open learning, we all use the technology and teaching because already it is in place. And many of the universities and colleges, they have a learning pedagogy model, they use that. Now the new terms like blended learning has come. But the advantages or the merits of a formal learning and also disadvantages, and also the open learning or its disadvantages. And what we require is more of a flexible learning. Flexibility in the sense we need to have a flexibility in the curriculum. most of the universities, they, revise their curriculum, maybe in the line of 3 years or 5 years. So that time also things become obsolete, or it was not updated correctly. But certain basics we need to follow, that is there, but it's at the resiliency, it's an evolutionary process. And it is not on all of a sudden to change it as a whole, but the basics and fundamentals, and to them, and it has to be mapped to the market demands and the availability, and to follow industry 4.0 or society 5.0. So you can have a credit transfer also. You can go to any university and get the credit and transfer, but still in Indian system, it's a bit difficult when you get a degree from a credit from a foreign university or that, even though NEP, encourages that, but still the policies has to come from the Indian, Indian education systems. And you need to have a pedagogy model, a flexible pedagogy model with a teacher-centered educational strategy, or a technology and you of course have a formative and a summative evaluations in that. But open learning systems, the thing is that the flexibility in study, the teaching and learning can be flexible and open rather than formal, that can promote easy, engaged and effective learning without any barriers, provide choices from the main dimension of study, a program or a course at time and location of learning, resources of teaching and learning, instructional approaches, this all are flexible. Teacher can act as a facilitator only. It's a learner-centric study, and you can choose the model what we want, but certain policies and the procedures, it has to be separate things, it has to be written for the university, and but students can choose which one they want it. So it should also have a summative and formative evaluations. And what do you mean by virtual learning systems? They can identify the courses that can go online, because even in a university, what you can do is that you can do some of the courses as a virtual learning system or an online. And students can choose, students has got that, they can choose which course has to be taken as an online, which course has to be come to the classroom and do it like that. Here also teacher pays as a mentor, but there are a lot of disadvantages that, because you all know that, because if there are 10 students in a class, 10 different, courses they choose, and 5 courses, they want different 5 courses, they want it in a virtual model. So the teachers, load is very high, even though they act as a mentor, but that process has to be involved in, and properly documented. The university have to go about this, and it should also have a. But one thing is that other than that, they can have a open innovations and open interactions all day. Okay, so now the third one is education for the future. This is something more important to us. There, I have taken the blended learning there. Then what is blended learning? I think most of you are already knowing it, but those who are not knowing, maybe this lessons may help you. Blended learning, but now we have something talked about in classroom, and we also talked about that class, something like that out of classroom. Can we have you have also seen some of the advantages and disadvantages of both the cases. So blended learning, what it does is that it takes the merits of the in classes, and also it takes the merits of an out classes, or maybe out classes mean virtual classes like that. And you combined it, so blend it. A blended learning is nothing but a combination of a learning at a distance or a virtual mode and a traditional on-campus learning. Because as I said, as all of you know, that online on-campus learning is very much needed as far as students' growth is concerned and holistic growth is concerned. But students can also go for a certain kind of online classes, virtual classes. How do we define all this? This is something more challenging as far as a university or a college is concerned. Because if we give the chance to the students say that, okay, this is a course I want online, or this is a course I want it in a classroom because I have difficulty in following that process my own. Here the student has to learn themselves. Rather than mugging up, they have to learn it as themselves. And here mostly what people do is that teacher will ask students to learn, okay, this kind of portions and then come back. And there is more of a discussion and discussion kind of a learning. Students can discuss it themselves. Students can discuss it in the presence of a teacher, and teacher will give you a more clarifications where you are required. So this will give a lot of impact into the education system. They'll understand the things very well. The knowledge will directly imparted into them, rather than teacher just come and monotonously teach in the class. And normally we have a concept of like, what do you do that? You have a classroom teaching. We teach some of the equation theory and some fundamental basics and or mathematical steps or anything like that, or a programming stuff. And after 10 minutes, students will really get bored, but they have to sit there. It's no other way for them. And then what they'll go to the library, the lab for work. Lab, some of the students will do, some of the students will not do, or they will copy it. And we know there are a lot of malpractices takes place. But here, the thing is that more of practice level, that is in the class. Study things, they can do it themselves. So the art of combining of digital learning tools with a more traditional classroom, or that is called a face-to-face teaching, and online teaching also, or a virtual learning teaching also. This is something termed as a blended learning. So it is merely giving some assignments or a quiz online, that is not the blended learning. So teacher in the center and the learners are there, they do certain things. It's not blended learning. The learner is in the center. It can be anything, say classroom teaching, libraries, communities, many things. They can choose the way what they want it. So what are the core principles of a blended learning? It is also an instructional methodology there. Teaching and learning combines face-to-face classroom and also computer-mediated activities to deliver instructions. But this pedagogical approach means a mixture of a face-to-face and online activities and the integration of a synchronous and asynchronous learning tools. So wherever it is possible, you can go for a synchronous, or if it is not possible, you can go for an asynchronous learning method also. That is a way you have to choose. Depending on the students, they're remotely available or their presence, there are other all kind of cultural or societal actors. This all you can look into that, and they can choose. There is no compulsion which one you wanted to go. And if they have problem in financial problems in that, that's a way also you can directly put them into a different kind of things. So blended learning is an approach to course design, but the more job it comes to the course design. It is not easy, because if some, as I already mentioned, if some student says that in the middle of the class, hey, ma'am, I want this part in a virtual mode. So the teacher will definitely in trouble. So what we have to do is that in the course design itself, we need to design in this course. Suppose we have 5 courses in a semester. How many have put it in a fully online class or face-to-face class? Or even in one course also, you can divide it into 2. These portions we will put it in class, or the other portions you have to put it in an outside class like that. That has to be decided before the course starts. So this is where the teacher has got a different outlook for preparing the designing of the courses and the curriculum building. Several studies support increased student satisfaction with a blended model or either face-to-face or online approaches. And online learning grew rapidly because of student preferences but blended learning is a pedagogically oriented innovation that will be driven by students and faculty. There is something called ABC, that is called Academic Band of Credit. So this is something mostly we follow in blended learning. So this is a concept of ABC that it has the potential of time, place, mode, speed, and language in many ways are going to be areas of flexibility and quality, interest, needs, student centricity, real world. That's the way the, as I mentioned in student centricity, their interest and quality, this all comes in defined in an academic bank of credit. And the real world study, taking examinations. Examination also the students can, decide when they can write the examination. It is not like us, they want more time, they can take more time, but the university will define the maximum time. That is also to the discretion of the university to define. And they have a more flexibility of choosing the subjects. Suppose you have 5 courses in one semester, it is not necessarily that they have to choose all 5 courses. They can choose 3 courses. Or some of the good students, they want to choose 6 courses, 1 out of the second semester. That is also possible because they can exit from their course, much before than the duration of the courses. But minimum period has to be mentioned in that, just like as we know, we have it in the PhD programs and all. So that's the way the framework has to build it. And it is more of outcome-based learning only. So all these concepts, analysis and all it will come. So students will have their own, interest in learning because they have to learn themselves. And in order to that, I have another slide on that. It's okay. And what are the ABC building blocks? Any subject combination with specialization and interdisciplinary. Flexible education with the merging of regular distance and online. Flexibility given to students to study in any national or international university institutions, converting credits into degrees and diplomas, enabling a lifelong learning process with the option of multiple entry and exit point. Here, even a person working it in an industry or whatever, he can register this course, but there is no period where he can, because sometimes he need to have a big workload in the industry or wherever he works. So he need more time. So he can have a multiple entry and a multiple exit point. There is something that is open. The admission is open. Even nowadays, I think most of the universities have problem when you have for the admission time. So we have opened this admission for a 1 month time. And maybe other universities or the other college examinations will not be over. So we need to get, students from the other states, their examinations will not be even started. So this kind of crisis, we all are facing it now. Then why can't we open it for a longer period? And multiple entry can be possible, but it's very difficult as far as the universities, other logistics is concerned, but we can think about certain courses, it can become like that. So students will be more attracted into that. And there is also, that is, NDP says that a Bachelor of Liberal Education. This is something, what do you mean by liberal education? It is not like that my degree is a Bachelor of Science in Zoology. My degree is not a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science. I just give a degree like Bachelor of Liberal Education. And what are the courses I study? I write that. So this is the way it has to come. So there is no way of a rigid kind of education system here. The colonial British system, it has to be revamped and come up with a new generation system. Bachelor of a Liberal Education is a new concept. It's a good concept, so that students can choose. Even after 1 semester, they feel that okay, this is not my way. I don't want to go through. Even many students, that then they have taken BBS. After some time, they feel that this is not my choice. This is not my bread or butter. I want to change. But that credit can also be taken, because he has done some basic courses. That credit can also be taken for getting into a new course. So that kind of flexibility, we need to look at it. That is something blended learning has come up with a new methodology of process, policies, and also the designing of the courses there. So that is the academic bank of credit. We have to define it before you start a course like that. Then what are the benefits we have as far as the students' benefits is concerned? It is a self-learning. Markup style will go. See, nowadays, the students have a lot of, you all know that's with the invention of www or internet and a lot of information, lot of knowledge is available. But all this, it goes in a peripheral level. Students just read it in a peripheral level or a surface level, but actual knowledge will not come. But if you look at the earlier people, they have something what they have studied, they know it. But the new generation students, they mark up and they forget everything. So because they don't have the concept of self-learning. Teacher will say, okay, you study this part and come. They'll study only that. But it is not like that. You have a book, you have the entire curriculum syllabus with you, a course with you. You learn it yourself. But you have a mentor, you have a teacher, you have a university associated with that, you have a registration process there, that. And here, there is the writing of, that is all we have to do. It's not very easy, writing of the examination at any time at all. But the research skills will generate from the beginning. So when do we start? Because most of them, some of the, faculty there, we all have PhDs and all. When we start learning as our own, mostly when we come to the PhD, because there is no other way, we have to learn themselves. So it's a research-based learning can be done, because now students have to refer a lot of things if they don't understand their concepts or anything like that. So more of exploration, research, detailing in the subjects, concepts, better thought process. They will have their own thought processing will come, and that's where the research skill will increase. And it's like a self-driving force. Self-driving, it is an a la carte model. So blends are personalized so that individual students have to blend the best fits for their age, their life, their talent, their passion, etc. Not like us, everything is in front of you. You have to take everything. You choose whatever you want. And this gives you a sense of responsibility and self-advocacy. So self-driven and responsible, tracking their individual achievements. They only track their individual achievements. So they have a feeling, they really get that, oh, my level is not very good. They compare with other universities because that all set it in your online systems you have, and they have to improve their own. And sense of responsibility come, and of course the decision making, that they can do it in a better and a more effective way. So they become a maverick and set their roadmap and their career by taking the decisions in the right way. But it's not very easy as far as a student is concerned, but all this process, the teacher as a facilitator or a mentor at the university will also give a lot of input to that, and the curriculum, the designing of the course, or has to be done it accordingly. Now, coming to the different models of blended learning, there is something called a supplemental, because we can choose whatever the way you want, whichever you are comfortable with that, or the university is comfortable with that, or depending on your location, your students, all kind of things, and the availability of the faculty, intake of the student. This all it comes there for us choosing a different models. The supplemental model retains a basic structure of the traditional course, supplements lectures and textbooks with the technology-based out-of-the-class activities, creates an active learning environment. It is something like just more or less what we do it, but certain supplementary things as an online model we give it. The Emporium model eliminates all class meetings and replaces them with a learning resource center featuring online materials and on-demand personalized assistance. Course content is delivered via online. It is something similar to our distance education. Replacement model reduces in-class learning, replaces some in-class time with out-of-class online interactive learning activities. Instead of traditional lectures, in-class time is freed and more interactive collaborative. This class time we use more for more interaction. So students all feel, more interest in doing that, other than sitting in a class for a morning to evening. the same old way, but it's not like that. They can go around, they can play around, anything they can do do their hands dirty by doing their own experiments and all. And that give you more importance, and all other things based on that they can go and learn. That is called a replacement. And the last one is a flipped classroom model. Flipped classroom model is one of the very prominent one now. So it is something more or less same combination of even the same as something replaces model also. The flipped classroom reverses the traditional class structure of listening to a lecture in a class and completing homework activities at home. Student in flipped classroom watch a short lecture on video or online and come into the classroom to complete the projects or center. Same like you give certain, video lectures or some, materials or like that. And this all students have to do it themselves. And doing the projects, they have to come to the classroom and do. But normally we do it the other way. We ask them, assignments you do it after going home, or projects you do it in out of your classroom. It is not like that. Projects, assignments, this all you have to do it in the class. That is, teacher will give you certain lessons, certain materials online, and study it and then come back and do the projects in a teamwork with the help of people. So that will flip the classroom. So many of the blended learning, the flipped classroom model is used. There are a lot of pros and cons of BL models. Pros: increases student engagement in learning, enhance the teacher and the student interaction, responsibility for learning, time management and flexibility, improve the student learning outcomes, enhance institutional reputation, better assessment model. Pros: more flexible teaching and learning environment, more amenable and for self and continuous learning, better opportunity for experience learning, direct face-to-face interaction with the teacher students, more options for a hands-on activity. When you come to the cons, increase the cost, overheads, facilities, logistics, and operational cost. I think now you will understand how all this comes. Now fixed time for exams, courses, difficulty in overall management of the examination. Without technology and software supported, difficult to manage. Teacher load will be more initially. Teacher will have a kind of hesitations, it comes at the beginning. And also initially we need to have a more investment. If not proper managing the program may fail because of deciding and all kind of things, and our management part is very important. Scalability is an issue. Student teacher ratio should bring down for some BL models and all. But only a well-crafted blended solutions can provide a seamless transitions. Now implementation of blended learning. So this is a flipped classroom. As I said, the projects, the discussions, all that comes with the teacher, and students learn by themselves. You're going to the library or out of the classroom, preparation and all, it comes out of the classroom. This is the in-class engagements and all. Okay. Now, where do we need the transformation? Do we need that only for the teaching, the online class you need transformation? No. We need transformation in the academic regulations. We need academic programs, designs, and quality assurance, faculty student. Where many places we need transformation. And as if this transformation, we need to come up with a certain business strategy. Now, education also, you don't think that it is even, you can have a business developer also. You can have a business analyst also, just like as an industry. Because you are not, it is not meant that you need to only do teaching. Even in my experience, now I work for the Digital University, one of the India's first digital university, we established in 2020, just 2 years, because earlier it was a IIIT, Indian Institute of Information Technology. Now we converted into digital university. So what we did here is that we are not too much worried about the students. But when we look at the society, we look at what is around here. We look at the government here. We look at the hospitals here. We look at the police department here. So what exactly they are looking for? What kind of people they want? How can we mold our students for that? Or how can we mold their people, their staff? So what advantage is normally we need to have a money also. We always depend on the students' fee and all. So if the students are less, what we do? So don't look at only that as a model. So recently in Digital University, we have conducted a 2 months training for the police cops to make them into an AI, artificial intelligence cadre. So what they want is that they have a lot of data and they want to have a more intelligent investigations and crime analysis for that. That is something every department is looking for, but they don't know how to do it. So they approached us and we have given a 45 days intensive training in artificial intelligence and data analytics for them. And we get money for the training. And they're very happy. Now, what we have done is that we have taken their own data and asked them to build the model, whatever they did it. They did some crime analysis, they did some locality-based prevention and the prediction methodologies. They did something called a modus operandi. Modus operandi is nothing but, when people have theft, they have a style of them. Some people, they do it from the front door breaking and all. Some people, they do it in the back door. There are there. So depending on that kind of things, we'll be able to know if any theft takes place in any of the places. Is there anybody from the same list or something similar to that? So those kind of a lot of analysis and the AI model they want it. That is something the university has to prove it now. It's only capacity building. We just give them how to prepare a prototype. Then they have to do it themselves. We train them for that. That is a digital transformation we are looking for. Agriculture, health, huge potential, health. It is not merely to, make them into a degree holding kind of things. Where their digital transformation is required for the society 5.0. There we need to generate our students. There we need to equip our students. And it's not merely anybody you can train them. So what are the dimensions where we have to look at there? We need to have a strategic dimensions, digital business strategies, strategic alignment, and new business models. You have to come up with the new business models. It's not like as a school teacher learning centric methodologies and but what kind of new business model yet? You can have a business model, business analyst and there. So some of the strategic embeddedness, it has to come into that. Your policy has to be rewritten with this kind of embeddedness into your strategic decision. Leadership, organizational support, change management, engagement of managers and employees. And see, it's not, you have, vice chancellor, you have registrar, you have what is called examination, those kind of all this comes. But other than that, you can have some other posts also. Something like some different managers for a business manager or certain other organizational support wherever it's required. So a digital leadership where this is where IT section also has to be. And most of the universities, we have a computer center. What do you mean by computer center is that some of the, automation maybe support and also students some training and something digital, some, IT based kind of thing, they can do it with using some computers. That is and some high-end machine also you may provide. That is only for the purpose of the students. But here it is not like that. You need to have an IT digital department where many other activities where you need it, you need a digital support. What kind of support you require? That has to be provided from that center. It is good that you have an e-learning facility there. It is not merely an e-learning center you need it. You need a development center also. Depending on, you have to define which kind of things you need it. We have to consider our people are a customer. So customer behavior and expectation, digital shifts in the industry, changes in the competitive landscape, new business model and implications. So market you have to look at. Digitally enhanced products, new business models, digital channels, internal and external collaboration is required. Operation is very important. Operational dimension, product innovation, practice approach, dynamic capabilities, growth effect, and the outcome and performance. Institutionalize the innovation process. People and skills dimension is very important. So growth of IT is very important because this all has to be done with the help of IT only. So ensuring the digital readiness, digital maturity, IT maturity, and its metrics has to be complied, and it has to be prepared as a document, and it has to go with that. And IT literacy is a part of that, and individual innovation capability is also a part of that. Governance dimension, regulation, engagement of managers and employees, a strategy, again a strategic governance. Of course, technology dimension is also a major part in that. Ensuring digital readiness, IT capabilities, growth, development of a dynamic capabilities, development of a digital strategy. That digital strategy is the one development you need to look at there. And business alignment, reformed IT areas, wherever you need to reform your IT areas. There is nothing wrong that you have 500 people of development there. This is something now people need it. You can have companies within the university. And you can give some of them, outsource some of the work to the company. So that is also a kind of collaborations we can look into that. That it is always good to have a company set up within the university. Even we have. We are going, and so also even our faculty can also become a CEO, but in a defined manner. We have a policy for that. According to that, we can work in there. So our capability can also be, exchanged to there, and then the development can come faster. So I think can I continue or? Hello, Dr. Vishal.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just go through fast. So now, how do we build a course with a blended learning model? I just give a scenario. Even this is available in the blended learning document, Charlie's document. So we have something like an 80 credit master's program. And you know that how many weeks credit has to come, UGC has prescribed that. It's a credit-based system. So you suppose you have a 240 hours in a blended you have a course. So instead of attending 240 classroom hours, students can spend up to a certain hours in online interaction and remaining face-to-face model. So how do we define that? But you have to comply with the, or the UGC regulations for that, how many weeks you have to take, how many credits you have, and each course of science or anything like that, you have a different kind of credits and all. So suppose you have a 4 credit course, you have a 4 into 15, 60 hours of class, 5 subjects in a semester. So 5 into 60, 300 hours. Teaching this 300 hours in a blended mode, and that is instead of attending 300 classroom hours, students can spend up to a certain hours in online interaction and be present. This has to be defined in it advance. We cannot even though say that students can choose that it is, but when you design the course, you need to decide how much you go for a face-to-face and how much you go for an online. So this is, I have just put a model. So this is 5 courses: computer architecture, computer networks, AI and machine learning, software engineering, object-oriented programming. Credits are also good, classroom hours are also good. Now I put this one course as optional to put a software engineering. There you can either choose as in the SWAYAM or a Coursera, one thing, but that is something you can put it. And assignments, so what that's a teacher A teaching courses of 120, teaching 50% modes online. There are 4 modules on this. 2 modules are dealt with online. So first course. So that means it is a combination of an online and an offline. But teacher B teaching all 4 courses in a blended mode, allowing students to access online resources, complete activities in online mode for about 30 hours, and be in the classroom for 30 hours. That is the other model here. Teachers C teaching AI and ML has allowed students to join MOOC course on e-learning. While students are completing this external MOOC, teachers also join this MOOC to keep. So teacher also has to join with the students for the end, because the entire course is given for a MOOC course. So teacher also be part of that. And the other one, assign a separate weightage of hours for every module. Last 2 modules require the lab hours where the students themselves have to come and do the work. So the one course, if it's more lab oriented, then you have to divide it according to that. And that where the lab comes or the projects comes, there you have to put it in on the classroom model or a face-to-face model and other things. So like each course you have to see, and teachers should sit together and come up with this model, and by complying all the credits and the things all like that. That's the way you can model a course. Okay, overall advantages from passive learning to active learning offers learners the opportunity to be together and apart. Emphasis bringing together to the online and face-to-face classrooms. Add humanness into the teaching, so you be with the student, because even the COVID pandemic time, you all faces that there was no touch with the students. Students are really, in trouble, and by sitting at home and learning, and also especially for the small children, it was really, it's even teachers parents has got a lot of pressure, and also they have to sit with the student children, but how long they can sit like that. So it's an apart from the classroom teaching. So that can be all our, even though if a pandemic comes, even otherwise also we will follow the same way. Interactive content enables you to create high interest, accountability, and real assessment, enhances individualization, personalization, and learning. Teachers tailor learning content to be a unique needs for a different audience segments. This is something, as I said initially, it's a bit difficult job, but gradually once it is ready, and most of the things digitally available also, for the next time they can use it. And also the first lesson for the first attempt, they have found that if it is success, then go with that. Otherwise, you can just remodule the way we want. So the future is something that we already enter. Not. The future is something we create. We need to personalize the university. We need to create our university. Each university has got their own way to create. It is not like I said, more the same old style of doing that. So don't look at the other university what it does. You create your university depending on your stakeholders, your customers, your locality, your readiness for that. Readiness is very important, and IT maturity is very important. IT is in the platform. That just give a kind of collaborations and speedness, effectiveness, and but on the top of that you have to build your university the way we want it. That is the way the digital transformation comes into the digital university. That is meant by digital university. So these are some of the references. It is just a national education policy, NEP, and a blended learning. And digital university thing is something which I put it as my own experience, what we are practicing it here. Okay, so thank you. That's all from my side. Now the forum is open for questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you. It has been, in fact, awesome learning. Like you talked about formal learning, virtual learning, open learning, flexible, blended learning, and various synchronous mode. And it has cleared a lot of doubts, but still there may be a few questions from the participants. Vishal sir, can we take questions? Vishal sir? Vishal sir, can you hear me? I'll just unmute everybody, and in case if there is any question, all the participants, they can type it in chat. Let me unmute everybody. Vishal sir, can you hear me? Vishal sir. Ma'am, let me check Vishal sir if it is there. Vishal sir. Joshan sir, can you hear me? Let me check, ma'am. They are connected. Let me check on boxes. Vishal sir is joining again, I believe.
നമുക്ക് നേരിട്ട് എങ്ങനെ പോകണം?
Vishal sir. Vishal sir. Vishal sir, please unmute yourself.
Yeah, yes, Dr. Vikas, because I don't have the permissions to unmute.
Yeah, I have just done it because, sir, I had muted everybody. Sorry.
Okay, no issues, Please let me know.
Sir, the session is through. Can we take few questions if there are from the participants, or like how do we go about it, sir?
No, I don't think there is any question on the YouTube I have seen. So we can conclude the session because I think
Right, sir.
is Dr. Joshan available if he can?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Joshan sir, please unmute yourself. Thank you so much, ma'am, for the wonderful session. Like a lot of learning on blended mode of learning. In fact, the various models you talked about, blended learning, and the models you discussed, it's an eye-opening and it's new to most of us. Now I'll request our coordinator, Center for E-Learning and Teaching Excellence, Professor Gurpreet Singh. Thanks. Over to you, sir. Joshan sir, can you unmute yourself?
I think he's facing some. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Dr. Joshan, please continue.
Joshan sir, you are mute. Please unmute yourself. Vishal sir, I think Joshan sir has some network issue.
Yeah, he was saying that there is less bandwidth.
Yeah. Can you take over, sir, please?
Yeah. So I am really thankful to Professor Elizabeth Shirley for sparing the time and share very useful information. Even I was in a myth that digital universities are on the fly and it's
Vishal sir, we have lost your voice.
It's very wonderful. Yeah. So it was really a knowledgeable session. Even I learned a lot of things and got to know about very new things that you have shared through your presentation. And I'm hopeful that most of the participants who have joined us through Zoom and through YouTube channel, they have learned a lot of things and learned new things from this presentation and your knowledgeable views. I am really thankful to Professor Hundal for collaborating with us, and we are hopeful that we will keep on doing such activities in future too. I am really thankful to Professor Arvind, the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the Punjabi University Patiala, who has granted us the permission to conduct such activities in a very free manner. So really thankful to him. I'm thankful to Dean Academic Affairs, the Registrar, Dean Research, Director Planning and Monitoring, Dean Faculties, HODs, all the faculty members, research scholars, and all the participants that have joined us and spared the time
for this webinar. So we will look forward for such support in future activities too, and we will keep on doing such activities for the benefit of all masses. So now I request, we have already shared the feedback form. If you are filling that feedback form, so you will be getting the e-certificates on your emails. So it is mandatory to fill the feedback form that has been shared on the Zoom chat box. As well. Thankful to my team, Dr. Vikas, Coordinator, Center for E-Learning and Teaching Excellence, Dr. Gurpreet Dawson, Coordinator, Center for E-Learning and Teaching Excellence, for their excellent support for organizing all the events that is happening every periodical when we are doing this. So thank you once again. Thank you from my side. Thank you once again to Professor Shirley for sparing the time and sharing their valuable knowledge with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your
Thank
patience
you,
and time to listen me for the last 1.5 hours. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you, Vishal sir. In fact, Vishal sir is an awesome leader, ma'am, who keeps motivating us for conducting various activities online. Like, hats off to him. Like, thank you so much, Vishal sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I would also, special thanks to Dr. Vishal for arranging that talk here at the Punjab University Annual Center here. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye. And thank you very much. Okay,
Vishal,
bye-bye.
Can we